Hello guys and dolls, welcome back to Honey Badger 3D Print and Paint. Today we're taking a look at the God of War axe and hammer by Yosh Studios. Before we get started, roll those credits. Okay, so we weren't originally going to do a video on these. We don't do a lot of prop stuff anyway. We don't do a lot of life-size stuff. They were originally just going to hang on the wall, but Mike pointed out that we've just suddenly have some stuff appear on the wall. People are going to ask questions. So what I want to talk about is Yosh Studios is a Patreon. He does helmets. So he does a lot of like Red Hood and Thanos and Batman and Samurai and things like that. But recently he did these. So he did the God of War Thor hammer, the God of War axe. He also did the God of War, I think they're called the Blades of Chaos. And they are something else I'm probably going to do at some point. But I wanted to talk about what we did and how we got to where we are. So first and foremost, we did have to cut the models up a little bit more than they were originally. So the axe is a prime example. The handle was originally in two parts. This sort of horse on the end came separately. The blade was originally one piece. We had to cut that up. And then you've got these gems and you've got these plate sections that go on either side of the hammer. They were all separate. So we ended up doing the gems and the plates in resin. We also did the horse head in resin as well. We also did this sort of nub end bit, this sort of top piece of the axe, that was done in resin as well. The handle and the blade all got cut up, all went on the Bambu Labs X1. And we printed them at a 0.12 layer height. And I think you can agree that the surface finish on these was absolutely stunning. So we were really, really happy with how this came out. As a result, we then decided that we were going to do Thor's hammer from God of War. So this isn't Thor's hammer from any of the Avengers or Marvel or anything else. This is specifically from the game. As a result, I am also worthy enough to pick it up. It's not that heavy, but it says more about the sort of the printing technique than it does about my overall worthiness, I suppose. So let's go through how this cuts out. So you've got these gold pieces here. They print separately. They went on our M3 Max. You've got the gem inserts in the handle and this handle cap. They all were done in resin, and they were done on the Uniformation GK2. You have the gold inset coins or medallion things that are in here. They print separately. They were done on the GK2. Then the handle itself and the hammer were all done on the Bambu Labs X1 Carbon again. So they were done at a 0.12 layer height. We had to, so the hammer itself comes in two halves. We had to split that again down the middle so that we could get this all on the bamboo. We did as best a job as we could of filling it. And frankly, I don't really think you can tell that I mean, there is a join line there, but you have to be looking for it. I'm really, really happy with how this came out. And I wanted to set myself a little bit of a challenge with this one. So with this one, I wanted to see how quickly I could paint it. Now, this was actually really easy to paint for a couple of reasons. So all the silver and gold on both these models is done in rub and buff. And for the most part, where the gold is, they are all, and where the silver is, all prints separately. So it's the hammer is silver, that's one piece. Then these sort of what? Brace parts, or whatever you want to call them, in gold, they print separately. The base of the handle prints separately. All of this part here, this gilded part, all prints separately as well. So rub and buffing it was really, really quick. Rub and Buff is a wax-based paint. It's excellent at giving a metal-like finish. What it does is you buff it on, unsurprisingly, with a cloth. You can paint it on with a paintbrush as well, but you'll tend to fill it in a lot more. What I will say is that because it's a wax paint, if you paint something or if you cover something in Rub and Buff, it is very hard to then paint over that with anything else. So if you're rub and buffing an area, it's very difficult to for example, if we'd have got any rub and buff on the wooden handle, it'd been really difficult to have got acrylics to have covered up that sort of gold patch that we've got on there. So the fact that all this printed separately was fantastic. These were all printed at 100% scale. They are pretty much, I would consider them to be sort of as close as doesn't matter to life size. The axe is perhaps a little bit smaller than in the game because the character in God of War is quite tall, and the axe is meant to be sort of quite big. But again, really happy with how it came out. So the challenge I wanted to set myself here was how long was it going to take me to paint this to a decent enough level that I was happy with. So it turns out the answer is 40 minutes. Most of that is because I tried to get some wood effect and grain effect on the handle, and I had to wait for stuff to dry. So that's the main reason why it took as long as it did. So let's just show you that time lapse. Okay, so as you can see, I was going at a fair pace, and I was doing that on purpose. Mike is always complaining or pointing out that I paint faster than he does, so I was just trying to prove a point more than anything else. I could have taken a little bit more time doing the wood effect on the handle, but frankly, for how I want this to look and how I want this to how I wanted this to come out, this is exactly how I wanted it to come out. So I don't feel like I rushed it or I didn't take as much time as I wanted to. It looks the way I want it to. It's got the effect that I want to, and I'm really happy with it. So let's do some close-ups and just sort of show you what these two things look like. So as you can see, I'm really happy with them. They're going to be going up on our wall. And you guys will, we'll put some pictures out and some videos out on TikTok and things like that. Really like these. We're probably going to do the daggers as well, just so that we've got the set. Yosh Studios are the guys who did it. Absolutely go and check out their Patreon. They do some amazing stuff. It does feel like you maybe need a slightly larger printer, like a 300 by 300 by 400, so a Sidewinder or a CR10 or something like that, and you'd be able to print pretty much anything on there. I think he does cut some of his stuff a little bit smaller sometimes, so maybe you'd be fine. But we found on the Bamboo that some of the stuff was just wasn't. It was just a little bit too big to comfortably fit on there as one piece. But if you're confident in joining and sanding and doing sort of material prep, then you're going to really love the stuff that he does, because it's really cool. So thanks for joining us, guys and dolls. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next video.